Hey there, friends and enemies, Jopie here again, and I had just started a series where I wanted to find the weapons that I'm going to be maining when I first start Monster Hunter Wilds when it releases later this week. However, there's too many weapons for me to get through individually, so I'm going to be checking out some different creators who made videos essentially answering that question for me and maybe make a decision based on this. So let me know in the comments down below what weapon you are going to be maining, or weapons, because you can have two with the swapping for your mount, but let me know which ones you are going to be rocking when the game comes out in just a few days. So this video is from Jaraptor. He is somebody who I've watched his content a lot across a bunch of different games, so I definitely trust his opinion, and I will link his video in the description down below. But anyway, let's jump in and see which of the weapons he showcases that are going to fit my playstyle.
There are 14 different weapon types in Monster Hunter Wilds, and while all of them are very powerful,
okay, that dual blade looks sick.
Different from one another. So I want to quickly talk you through all of them and their respective playstyles, so you'll know exactly which weapon is right for you when you head out into the wilds. Starting with the lightning fast dual blades, which I consider an excellent weapon if this is your first Monster Hunter. Combat in the series is a bit slower than most modern action games, but not when you are using this weapon type.
Okay, I can see this being fun.
Pretty fast, but your main mechanic is entering a stance called Demon Mode, which gives you access to new and
that sounds sick. What?
Combos, including a dash attack for extra mobility. While active, the mode drains your stamina, so you're constantly switching between normal for recovery and then Demon Mode for DPS. You'll also notice there's a special meter that fills when you hit attacks in Demon Mode, and when that is filled up, you also get some new combo attacks for your regular stance. So even though it's a relatively simple weapon, there's already quite a lot of depth to it.
I do like that a lot.
Each weapon has received new special attacks to trigger on the wounds you now create if you keep hitting a monster in the same spot. I'm not going to go over all of them, but this kickoff into blade spin attack for the dual blades is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
So sick. What?
If you like to be quick on your feet and unleash a barrage of fast and acrobatic attacks.
I might need to do this.
End of that spectrum,
dual blades.
We have the Greatsword. This massive weapon is capable of hitting the highest damage numbers on a single attack, but as you might expect, the windups for these attacks are pretty lengthy. Luckily, Monster Hunter Wilds' new focus mode allows you to better redirect your heavy swings, so for returning players, the weapon will feel a lot more forgiving. But still, a Greatsword user really needs to play around a monster, learning when to dodge and keep his distance, and when it is safe to unleash.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
You can also use the massive blade as a shield to guard from attacks.
That is sick. I do like the animation for that a lot.
A shoulder tackle that doesn't deal a lot of damage, but can stagger a monster out of an attack if you're lucky. New for Wilds is a special charged uppercut that you can use to counter incoming attacks. So while the combos are simple, the Greatsword itself is still an incredibly versatile weapon.
I like this weapon, the look of it,
insane damage numbers.
but it's not for me, to be honest.
Another weapon I consider a good starting point if you're new to the series, the Insect Glaive.
This is what I considered.
Some decently fast combos on the ground, but the key feature that sets it apart is the fact that you can use the weapon to vault yourself up into the air, giving you access to some spectacular aerial attacks.
Yeah, that's very sick.
Jumping is also an excellent way to dodge a monster's attack and reposition yourself, or you can try to drop on a creature's back and go for a mount, where you wear it out in a short minigame until you bring it crashing to the ground. Now, I've sort of explained the glaive part of the weapon there, but you also get a small insect friend who plays a vital role in the weapon's playstyle.
I do love companions in games.
To attack different parts of the monster, which won't deal much damage, but it will bring back an extract that gives you a small buff. Each monster has 3 different extracts, and once all 3 are collected, you enter an empowered state that also upgrades your aerial combos. This buff is crucial to getting the most out of the weapon, so there is a bit of a learning curve there, but since your insect body can extract from range, you can do this while staying out of harm's way.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
Crosshair in Wilds now displays which buff you get from the part you're currently aiming aiming at.
Oh, that's sick.
To hit the monster to gather all three. If you
I like that a lot.
Assaulting the enemy from the air and toppling monsters with a mount so you can go ham on them.
I'm learning, guys.
Insect Glaive. My personal favorite weapon, however, is the Charge Blade, which is effectively 2 weapons in one. You start out using a sword and shield, with each attack you hit building up energy in these little vials you can see on the HUD. You can then store that energy and use it for various things, like empowering your shield or enhancing your blade with
this looks pretty interesting.
But the main use for these charges is to empower the attacks of the Charge Blade's axe mode. Because yes, you can combine the sword and shield to create a massive axe.
That's so sick, by the way. They have a lot of creativity with these weapons.
So yeah, you can switch on the fly between 2 weapon types, and there are even attacks that allow you to change mid-combo.
That's sick.
Even more insane, there are several attacks that change the
I haven't even tried to use this one.
Like the special attack you perform on a wound with this weapon.
That's actually dope.
Learning curve to the Charge Blade.
Yeah, I haven't even tried to use this because it looked very overwhelming.
Weapon to learn, and once you master it, you can do anything from solid defense to devastating offense. If you'd rather keep your distance, there are some ranged weapons you can pick from as well. And of course, if you enjoyed the video so far, be sure to leave a like.
Like I said, I'll link the video in the description, so definitely go check it out.
Ranged weapons, although they of course
this like machine gun is kind of sick.
Weapons, since you'll be aiming your attacks.
I'll probably have one ranged and one melee weapon.
Ranged weapons is the bow, a versatile and consistent damage dealer with some good mobility as well. Your main resource is displayed by this gauge on the right side of the screen, and it is primarily used for 2 things.
That's actually
One is coating
awesome
your
looking
arrows with various empowering effects, such as increased damage or status effects. The other is firing a tracer arrow that then causes all subsequent attacks to hone in on the tracer. You then refill the gauge by attacking or by perfectly dodging an incoming attack, which also looks really cool, by the way. And since
I do like that a lot.
Blend together shots and dodges, you're pretty hard to pin down too. The bow has access to all kinds of special shots.
If I'm playing co-op, maybe I'll rock the bow a lot. I don't know.
One is the Dragon Piercer. This charged shot pierces through a monster completely, dealing damage along the way. So the longer the line it makes, the more damage it deals. So if you want to feel like Legolas hunting down creatures 10 times your size with
the animations for this are so sick,
moves, then the bow is what you want to go with. But if you really want to keep a monster down and make sure it never gets back up again, then there is no better tool than the hammer. As strange as it feels to say it, the hammer is
considered this one as well
of a crowd control weapon. Since it deals blunt damage, its attacks will work towards exhausting a monster, limiting.
The Insect Glaive, the hammer, and the longsword were the 3 melee weapons, like up close weapons, that I was considering initially. Dual blades now, maybe. I don't know. I might stick with the Insect Glaive. I'm not sure.
Their stamina and tiring them out. Continuous hits on the head will also build up stun damage until you.
I do love a good bonk though.
To the ground, setting you up for some nice free hits. While bonking a giant lizard on the head with a massive hammer is immediately fun, there's actually a surprising amount of depth to the hammer. Many of your attacks can be charged and triggered at multiple levels, leading into different attacks that can sometimes combo into other charged attacks as well. It is of course a bit on the slower side, but once you stun a monster and knock it to the ground, that's no longer a problem. So if you want to bash down anything that stands in your path with a ton of potential combos to learn and master, then you should definitely give the hammer a try. Now for something explosive, let's look at the gun lance.
This is my ranged weapon that I was looking at first.
Attacks. Plus you get some amazing defensive options too, thanks to the shield.
Especially because of the defensive options.
The gun lance is a very versatile weapon, as you can pepper a monster with shells from the cannon while keeping a safe distance, or you can charge in with various piercing and slashing lance attacks. You can even combo swinging and firing in between hits for some truly devastating combos, and when you want to put down the real pain, you have 2 types of alternative ammo that pack a really big punch. Wyvern Fire is a charged blast that releases a big damaging explosion, perfect for when a creature is incapacitated. And Wyvern Stake is an exploding spear that you impale into a monster and then it detonates after a short delay. Now if you want to keep using the
both of those
blasting
are sick.
capabilities of the gun lance, you need to keep reloading it. But there are multiple attacks that you can chain into a quicker reload, so you don't have to stop your assault. While not the easiest weapon to get into, the gun lance offers great defense.
Yeah, I don't know if this is for me as a newer player, but it does look very sick. This is a aspirational weapon for me personally.
But the ultimate king of combos and flashy attacks is the longsword. Don't let the size of the blade fool you, as this is actually a pretty quick weapon with a large and diverse.
Yeah, I like this one more than the greatsword because it is a lot faster.
The weapon revolves around the spirit gauge, so this icon on the HUD, which you fill with regular attacks and then you spend the resource on special attacks and combos. Hitting these special attacks in turn levels up your spirit gauge, as you can see by the change in color, until it reaches the red state, during which you unlock another set of new moves and attacks. So you need to stay on the offensive to keep this buff up, although you can also increase your spirit gauge level by performing a counter.
This, where he sheaths the sword, is my favorite part. It's so sick.
Press the button when an attack is about to hit you. The coolest move by far, however, is the Helmbreaker, which launches you up into the air and then you aim where you want to strike down, triggering a delayed series of strikes to the part you hit. Very satisfying to pull off, and as I said, there are way more cool attacks you can perform with the longsword. So if you want a weapon that's not too slow, has some great reach, and an extended list of moves and combos to account for any
Yeah, I don't know if the longsword. I think some of the other ones just look cooler.
The true jack of all trades in Monster Hunter is the sword and shield. As the name suggests, this weapon
I don't think this one's for me either.
allows you to block incoming attacks, and sometimes a successful block allows you to engage in the new
These animations are cool,
though. Which is a nice
though.
way to get some free hits in and keep a monster occupied. The sword has some fast and lengthy combos, which you can follow up with a hold back and a leaping lunge forward that launches you into the air if it connects. While the damage of individual hits is low, you'll be able to output impressive amounts of damage thanks to how frequently.
Yeah, I don't know if this playstyle is
so
for
that
me
already
personally.
makes the sword and shield a mobile weapon with both strong offense and defense. But the real versatility comes from the fact that you can use your items while you are holding the weapon. Normally, you have to sheath your weapon before you can grab and use an item, but with the sword and shield, you can directly access all of your consumables without lowering your blade.
That's
That means
interesting.
faster heals, faster recovery from status effects, and the ability to quickly place bombs and traps mid-fight. While the weapon combos are easy to master, this added ability means the skill ceiling for the sword and shield.
Yeah,
is
that makes a lot of
limitless.
sense.
So if you want a versatile weapon that is easy to pick up but has a ton of potential, you can't go wrong with the sword and shield. Now, I've mentioned a couple of weapons that have access to a shield, but the true master of blocking and defense has got to be the lance. If you like playing tanks in other games, this weapon is perfect for you.
I love playing tanks. I don't think I want to play this.
Chipping away at a monster's weak spots.
It just feels not as impactful.
Allows you to keep attacking specific areas with a quick combo of thrusts. Whenever a monster threatens you, you can either quickly block or enter a counter stance where you can immediately hit back if a creature hits you. Instead of dodging, the lance gives you access to a small hop to the back, front or sides when you press the dodge button. And while that initially seems like a downgrade, it's a really good trick to quickly reposition yourself and stick on those weak spots. You can still use your regular dodge by sheathing your weapon, but as a lance user, you'd rather use your block to counter an attack anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you want to stand your ground as an immovable bastion while you precisely target a monster's weak spot, I think you'll really enjoy the lance. And while the lance is comparable to a tank class, there's another weapon that fills.
So one of the reasons that I want to watch videos like this, and I do enjoy kind of discovering this, is as somebody who's just starting, I want to see the potential of these weapons. I unfortunately can test them out myself, but a lot of them feel underwhelming when I'm using them and I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So now that I have more of a guide, I can make a more informed choice and really look at the type of weapon that is going to suit my playstyle in the long run, not just when I first pick it up.
A role likely familiar to you. It's the hunting horn, and it is widely considered to be the ultimate support weapon thanks to its ability to distribute party-wide buffs. But don't let that description fool you, as this blunt instrument, pardon the pun, can deal some excellent
Yeah, I
damage as well.
heard
In fact,
they nerfed it, so
supporting is
a lot of
not
people were
passive
running it
playstyle in Monster
as
Hunter,
the
as you need to
second
attack in order to
weapon,
apply those
because it
buffs
would
I
buff and
mentioned.
then you could
Each attack
swap.
corresponds with a certain musical note, which you then store to perform a song. Each hunting horn has has multiple songs they can perform to apply buffs to you
That's
and
kind
other
of sick.
hunters within your range.
Sounds super
Adding
interesting.
more support capabilities, the Hunting Horn has a new skill called an Echo Bubble. You have 3 of these AoE circles.
Watch them dance around like that and use it is kind of silly.
Depending on your currently equipped horn to everyone inside the circle. Playing or attacking inside the circle will also increase damage to a monster, which again proves that the Hunting Horn is capable of way more than just support. So if you like the idea of bringing the dude, applying buffs to your party while still dishing out great damage, your best bet is absolutely the Hunting Horn.
Yeah, I can see some people rocking this for sure.
Unique. If you really want something special, you should have a look at the Switch Axe. Like the Charge Blade,
yeah, I heard the Switch Axe is insane.
With one being a massive axe and the other being an even more impressive greatsword. As you might expect, this is not a fast weapon, although the speed at which your hunter is able to swing the axe around is still very impressive. Every attack that connects builds up this sword gauge, which fuels the attacks you perform while in the sword mode. While using the weapon in this form, you build up a second charge marked on the outside of the HUD icon. Once it is full, you are able to perform a special attack where you stick your blade in the side of a monster and vent all the built-up energy into a massive explosion.
Okay, that looks really cool.
Satisfying and powerful move to pull off, so if this high damage explosive playstyle looks like fun to you, then you should main the Switch Axe.
I don't think that's going to be one for me personally, but
together, as well they have their differences, the light and heavy bowgun also share many similar mechanics.
That heavy bowgun
Like
looks
these
insane.
Weapons feel very different as you aim with the crosshair and have access to different types of ammo to apply various types of damage.
Maybe I'll go heavy
Some
bowgun.
ammo types like regular ammo or the shotgun-like spread shot are unlimited, but more specialized things like elemental ammo need to be crafted or bought.
Gotcha.
Which is something to keep in mind with both of these weapons. They require a bit more inventory management than, say, a greatsword. Still, your ability to consistently dish out elemental damage or target specific spots of a monster should not be underestimated.
Yeah, that does sound interesting. I think the heavy bowgun is more for me than the light one.
The bowgun has a much quicker dodge roll than the heavy, but the heavy compensates by having a shield on the weapon that you can use to block incoming attacks.
Okay.
Both weapons also have some firing modes unique to them, so if you want a more mobile close-range playstyle, pick the light bowgun, and if you want to dig in, defend yourself and take shots from afar, then the heavy bowgun is
yeah, I think heavy bowgun is going to be the one I'm going to use.
Pick and try. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to not miss.
So, we've narrowed it down. Just looking at potential play styles, I'm now kind of torn. I think it's either dual blades or insect glaive, I think are the two that I'm kind of leaning towards, with the potential of the bonk hammer being another option if I want to swap to that. And then if I do select a ranged one, I kind of want to go gunlance, but it feels like I should go heavy bowgun and I can just be like a ranged team support player. I plan on playing mostly in co-op, so having an option like that I think would be very fun, just like peppering shots down on the monsters that I'm hunting. So I do feel like that would be very, very cool. Ultimately, we'll have to see, though, because I'm still torn. I'm still not sure. We just have a few days until launch, and I'm just not sure which direction I really want to go. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, which weapon you'll be trying first when the game comes out, which pair of weapons, especially if you have a set of two. Again, I'm just looking for more input. I love kind of brainstorming this stuff, so that way when I jump in, I can have as much fun as possible and really enjoy the game right from the rip. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.